Take an uncommonly warm and humid spring morning, a reluctance to engage in controversies and contentions, and the anticipation of a long weekend at home, and you have the ingredients of this morning's activity at the state capitol. Only 2 committee meetings were scheduled. One, a subcommittee on education, heard testimony on a bill which would compel school building contractors to ensure an hour of safety in case of fire. No action was taken, and the subcommittee will wait until next week to report its decisions to the full committee. The Senate Roads and Highways Committee played to a gallery of 4 reporters who almost outnumbered the committee members. They drank coffee and traded stories about what a politically conscious Oklahoma City radio personality had said this morning, and then incidentally passed a half-dozen bills out of committee. One of these was the celebrated substitute county road bill offered in place of the infamous administration county road reform measure. It would set up the new office of county road supervisor to take charge of all local road building. The House and Senate have already gone into session, and the only major action of the morning was the nearly unanimous passage of the marriage bill, which is designed to wipe out Oklahoma's alleged marriage mills. What the lawmakers will do this afternoon seems to depend solely upon their mood for work and the weather. This is Alan Bickley, WKY News, State Capitol.
Do you think Oklahoma City should proceed then with its land buying for the airport?
Well, very definitely, because I'm informed that if we buy the land, then when the money becomes available in the federal program, we will still match the purchases that Oklahoma City has spent on the land. See, if you wait to let the land go up, as it will, as it's close to Oklahoma City, why, it'll cost us a great deal more. So I think Oklahoma City would be well advised of getting the land now and waiting for the federal matching money when it becomes available.
What seems to be the main problem with the bill?
Well, it's the president, and the president says it will unbalance his budget. We don't think it will, because not much of this money will be spent next year. It's merely a commitment for the money to be spent, and to guarantee the cities that we will match it when they are ready to spend it. And all the work can't be done immediately, so it would stay right practically within the president's budget, particularly for the year 1960. You can modernize the entire 50-state federal airport system everywhere for $100 million a year for 4 years. Yet if you were to lose 4 of the new B-58 Delta Wing bomber, that's a twice the speed of sound bomber, if you lose 4 of those in any 1 year, it would cost you more than the entire federal aid to airport system. And these big bombers oftentimes are saved from total loss and the crews from death by having adequate municipal landing fields away from the military fields.
suitcase or down at Dallas, but we'll sell a lot more up at Kansas where they have the mandatory markup, and the price is a lot higher up there with a mandatory markup than it will be here with a $2.50 tax. Then we'll sell more of it to Texas because there's all counties dry. So we'll make it, and when you want, if you're interested in the school kids, if you're interested in a highway program or a welfare program or a mental health program, the Senate's not going to follow this googly-gook and swallow the whole thing down and go for $1.25 and $1.50 taxes.
It is our property. We believe that we should be permitted to use our property for the best purpose it is suited for, which is the purpose of using it for a cemetery. Now, I can't think of anything more necessary and useful to a community
what a piece of land they'll sell for depends in large measure on what the buyer wants it for. And I can visualize that some person might be happy to buy a piece of land at a lower price across the street from the cemetery, because the location of the presence of the cemetery could in no wise have any effect upon his proposed use of the land. On the other hand, a buyer who wants to use the land for some other purpose might find that the local cemetery in the proximity would be a death knell to him in his business or his proposed use.
Well, I don't know whether we'll have legislation, but we're going to have hearings on the effect of ratings in determining the programs of the television networks throughout the country. For example, Nielsen, that has reports from about 1,000 wired sets, is determining the television diet for some 74 million people, and that's just a little bit too much responsibility for these 1,000 sample sets. I think probably you're getting a lot of programming for juveniles, because it merely shows that the set is on and what station it is on at a certain hour. And everyone that has children around the house know that usually it's Junior that's watching it, so everybody gives us a large dose of westerns, about 6 or 7 programs a night, instead of the variety that adult audiences would be entitled to have. I think the television industry has gotten themselves into a vicious circle where you have created a dictatorship of a numbers racket that is arrived at in very indirect and indefinite means on the so-called ratings. It's the Lord High Master of all the television industry, of the advertising industry, and of the 74 million people who own television sets.